Okay, so here I have already done the brim of the pineapple crown beanie, and I've also done round one, which is just a single crochet into the brim all the way around. And I've also done round two, which is an increased row of half double crochet stitches. So now we are ready to go on to round three. And I've actually already done the first 8 stitches of round three. The pattern calls for you to half double crochet into the same stitch as the joining chain and then to do 7 more. And so that's a total of 8 half double crochet. And this is where we begin the cabling, which can get sort of tricky. So we're going to work on that now. The pattern says at this point, after your initial 8 half double crochet, to count backward 2 stitches and then to front post double crochet into the corresponding stitch of round 1. All right, so I'm going to show you what that looks like here. So we're going to count back from this stitch right here, the last one worked, 1, 2. Then from there, I just follow the posts straight down into round 1. And in my example, it's actually a green round because I did that round 1 in green. And so you can see that this single crochet right here is the corresponding stitch for that round. So again, I'm going to go ahead and count backward 1, 2, and then come straight down. So we'll be working around this single crochet right here. Now this is a front post double crochet, so I'm going to yarn over and working around this stitch, I'm going to go down on the right side, behind the post, and back up on the left side. Once your hook is in the correct position, then just complete the double crochet as normal. And that causes you to have a left leaning post or cable. So that's your first cable stitch. Now the pattern says to go ahead and do that 2 more times, and then once you've done the first one, it makes the next stitches easier to find. So you can see that that is the single crochet that we worked around. So we're just going to work around this very next one. Another front post double crochet. So down on the right, behind the post, and back up on the left, complete the double crochet. And then we do that 1 more time for a total of 3. Work around the very next single crochet post in that round. Okay, so that's your first set of cable stitches for this round. All right, so now the pattern calls for you to do 8 half double crochet. Now this is where it gets tricky. So I'm going to kind of turn the work a little bit so you can see the back side. You want to make sure that on this row right here, your main row, you're only leaving 3 stitches unworked to compensate for these 3 post stitches that you did down into round 1. So you want to make sure that you're skipping the right stitches here. It can get kind of tricky. So if you flip it over to where you can see the back, you can see that this stitch right here is the last stitch that you worked into. You can see that half double crochet going into that loop right there. All right, so that does not count as a skipped stitch. That's the last one we worked. When you're looking at it from this direction, it kind of looks like you should skip it. But if you flip it back around, you can see that you actually worked into that one. All right, so that is my last worked stitch. So I'm actually going to start counting here on the next one. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work into this one over here. So just one more time, I'll show you. This stitch right here was worked into, and you have to flip it over onto the wrong side of the work to see that. So don't count that as a skipped stitch. Start counting after that one. 1, 2, 3, and go into this one. So I'm going to go ahead and put my loop back on my hook. Yarn over because you'll be doing a half double crochet. And again, 1, 2, 3, and work a half double crochet into the next stitch. And that will kind of anchor your cables, and it causes them to lean to the left. Okay, so now the pattern says to do 8 total half double crochet here. So that was 1, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, now we're going to create some right leaning cables. These were left leaning cables. All right, so to do the right leaning cables, instead of counting backward 2 stitches, you're going to count forward 2 stitches. All right, so I'm going to start here with the very next stitch and count 1, 2, and then I'm going to go straight down into or around the corresponding single crochet from round 1. So it'll be this one right here. So I'm going to yarn over, go down on the right side of that single crochet, behind it, and back up on the left side. And then I'm going to complete my double crochet stitch from there. Whoops. Okay, then once you've done that one, you will do 2 more into the very next 2 single crochet stitches, or around those 2 single crochet stitches, I should say. So that's 2, 1 more, 3. Okay, so now, again, on the back side or the wrong side of the work, you want to find the last stitch that you worked into. Okay, and in this particular row, you can see that this stitch right here is the last one that we worked into. All right, so I want to go ahead and start counting from there. Okay, you can see that half double crochet going into that loop right there. So we want to start counting with this one. 1, 2, 3. And you can tell that here, it actually looks like it's directly behind these post stitches. Right, it's directly behind that last post stitch that you just worked, which is what you want, because you want these next half double crochets to kind of shove these cables further over to the right. Okay, so that's what it should look like. So now you have 1 set of left leaning cables and 1 set of right leaning cables. And then you're just going to continue the pattern from there. So the next step then would be your 8 half double crochet, and then you will do another repeat of left leaning cables, 8 half double crochet, right leaning cables, and so on until you complete the round.